Ready?
Flying back.
So I'm just teasing you guys. Calm down. You don't have to make everything a big deal. You learn in marriage, you're gonna one day get married. Not everything you have to make a big deal. You gotta let things go. Rabbi said the best marriage is a person that plays deaf, blind, and mute sometimes. It's just the way it is. Sometimes you don't need to hear everything, you don't need to see everything, you don't gotta smell everything, just la'avir et ha'chaim, let it go. You ready? You already pressed on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine.
It's the start.
Okay, Rabbi Sai, welcome to another Tuesday night shiur. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam she'akol hiya bidvaro. Okay. What's this week's parasha? Does anyone know? Ekev. Very good. Parashat Ekev. Okay, before we start, let's inyanat de Yoma, as they say. We officially crossed the 15th day of Chodesh Av. We are 6 weeks now before Rosh Hashanah. 6 weeks. I want you guys to. You have to understand where we going to. In 6 weeks from now, we're going to get judged. How the rest of our year is going to be. That means October 7th was judged the year before. That means your verdict is decided after Shmini Atzeret. That means after Sukkot, the day after Sukkot, it's done, it's finished. Then we have Simchat Torah, we celebrate. So just keep that in mind, that don't take these days lightly. We're finishing, we have another 12, 13 days for the end of this month, Chodesh Av, the month of the lion, the Leo. We're going into the month of the Betulah, right? And then we're going totally into the scale, we're getting judged. When you guys, before you take your exams in school, right? More goes to you than to them, right? Or before you have court case or anything, right? How scared are you? How worried are you? You ever get pulled over by a cop yet?
No.
Not yet, right? Did any of you get ever pulled over? You got pulled over? How did it feel, honestly, that first time you heard that, you saw the lights? I'm telling you, I remember my first time. My first time was 2 days. 2 days after I got my license, I still had the paper. I had the paper. I remember I got pulled over in Borough Park. I was going to pick up matzot. I got pulled over. He's like, license and registration. I said, I only have paper. Like, I don't know what to do. You know, it was like unbelievable. But Baruch Hashem, that first time, and unfortunately, every time you get pulled over, it's like that first time. It's like, oh my God, like, same thing. Rabbi said, Rosh Hashanah is coming. We're getting judged for the whole year. You have to understand something. That whole year, how it goes, it's a ripple effect how the rest of your life is going to go. Just the way it is in life. You can't just delete a year of your life. It's what's going to happen. It automatically affects what happened to you this year. You will be praying and asking for based on what happened this year. So don't take it lightly. Don't keep it in the burner, as they say. Already put these things in front of you. Start working on what you need to be worked on right now. Okay, how am I connecting this? Because we're in the parasha of Ekev. Ekev means, what is the Ekev? The heel. Yaakov, right? Yaakov grabbed Esav from the heel. And it's funny that Esav corresponds to the 2 months of the summer, right? The Cancer, as they call it, and the Leo. These are the months of Esav. Why? It's the most eye-looking months. What does that mean? Everything has to do with looking. How does she look? What is he wearing? Look at the haircut. Look at the car. How much money? Everything is to do with the eyes. Esav. We'll talk about it. 1 second. Esav is all about external, outside. Let me see. That's why both the Cancer, right, are very emotional people, and the Leo are very dominant people. Those two are very external midot, characteristic traits, right? They're not emotional, they keep it inside. They're emotional and they take it outside. The Leo is the same thing. They're very dominant. They're very stubborn. They're very go-getters. These are things, both male and female, both in their own ways. They're very external midot. They're not internal midot. It's totally different. And so too, we're heading into the Betula, the Virgin is, right? The Virgo, right? A Virgo is a double coin, right? She knows how to perceive one way, but really she wants something else. It's two different things, right? It's very similar.
But Libra.
We're not wait. No, I'm not getting it. You're going to a different thing. We're not talking horoscopes right now.
So close.
No, I know exactly. Almost doesn't count. That's the difference. Almost doesn't count. So this is exactly what we're getting into, and this is why Chodesh Elul is a Betula, because we can rectify ourselves. We can make ourselves back to our initial state as our creation. We were created perfect. We came to this world with a baggage, but our book was still empty. That means, what's our baggage? Our front page, the cover. The cover already is what we did in the past lives. Now we have to rewrite our life. And the people that you meet, and the people that you see, and the people you connect to, and the people you disconnect to, we all met once. We all spoke once, we all learned from each other once, we all did business from each other. You don't meet someone new. We've been around, we've met each other.
What if we are new?
We're not new.
None of us.
No.
I heard if you're born on Shabbat, you're a new
No,
soul.
those are fairy tales. Those are great fairy tales.
Your brother actually says something about new souls. Like if you meet your other half, easily and without no problem.
There are new souls. I'm gonna pop the bubble for you.
There are, right?
They aren't.
Oh, so how
They don't exist anymore. Not only don't they exist, you know what kind of purity you have to be to draw down a new soul to this world? You have to be in the utmost purity in order to draw down a new soul to your wife. And they at those times it was easier. After the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, the gates were closed. They closed. Why? Because Hashem said, we're just ruining. You're gonna put new souls down. What's gonna be? We're just ruining them. We have to fix what we have. Now it could be you and I have the same soul. I don't know why we're getting into this topic, but once we're in, we're in. It could be you and I are the same people.
But split.
Yeah, it's very common. People don't know this.
Is this supposed to be right now?
No, you see, because no, it doesn't make a difference, male and female. That you're talking about soulmates right now. You're trying to. This is the thing of women. This is what they're getting. This is their gist of their conversation. I'm not talking about that. Right? You went to a total different topic. But your soul is so big. Your soul is so big that your soul can have many. It has many parts to it. And it could be that even though you have a full functioning body, your soul is a part of a certain section of a soul that's from the finger of Adam Rishon B'nai. So you can be a finger. Okay, what's wrong with that? Nothing. That means you have to do whatever you have to do. Could be your sister, it's the same thing. You guys are covering one puzzle. Oh, LMI, you also have a husband and so on and so forth, and he is or he's not, if he's your Ben Zug or not, which I have to break it to you also. These are not my words. Majority of people do not marry their soulmates. But don't get shocked. Don't get shocked. I know it's a shocker. Most people do not marry their soulmates. What do they marry? They marry the person that they need in order to fix themselves 100%.
That's why
That means as follows. I can get married to someone and she doesn't necessarily need to be my soulmate. And you want to know something? It's irrelevant if she's or he's your soulmate. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't make a difference. What makes a difference is how do I relate to this person in order to make me myself to the perfect human being.
So why do
because even though she might not be my soulmate, she's the one that's right now for me. That's what I need. I don't need my soulmate, whoever she is.
So why do they mention it?
They mention it because this is what hypes up the youngsters. Soulmates and all this kind of...
But do souls come as a pair?
There is no pair. There's one soul that's split into two. It's not a pair. A pair means two different things.
Okay, yeah, but I'm saying one soul turns into two. And then the other half, they're supposed to meet each other somehow.
I know, this is fairy tale. This is Hollywood. This is Christianity. This is what they made out of Judaism.
They don't have to though, right? It's like the whole...
No, it doesn't have to. A man can have children from any different woman, right? Does it have to be his soulmate?
We could have multiple wives, yeah, exactly.
Same thing. So I don't want to get into that topic because now it's going to get very uncomfortable, right? So, lamaskana to our inyan, a person gets married, he not just gets married, he associates himself with, or he acts with the people at the end of the day who Hashem who Hashem knows that's going to help you be the perfect person that you can be. And that's considered for you, consider that is your soulmate. Because your soulmate, really, what does she or he have to do? Has to make you perfect. Now, if I have a problem in ABC, why do certain things trigger you and certain things trigger her? Why? Because those triggers make you, when you control those triggers and you work on yourself, what happens to you automatically?
Feel good, become better.
Oh, you become a better human being. Now, if I'm gonna marry someone that's such a, like everything's to the T, am I gonna work on myself?
Well, did you see everything positive?
Everything is perfect. Perfect, totally perfect. Am I working on myself in any way? No, everything's too good, right? There's nothing to work on. So, Kadosh Baruch Hu purposely gives you someone that gives you a challenge, and this is why people break. Why do people break and get divorced? Because when the challenge comes, it hurts their inner ego. Oh, you're hurting my inner ego? How is that possible? My inner ego should be hurt? What just happened? You took that challenge that really had to rectify you as a human being, and you just threw it in the garbage, not knowing that that's exactly what you need in order to be 100%. So that when you look at things in that way, automatically when you look at a certain challenges or certain difficulties, you have to realize that these difficulties are for my benefits. So my brother writes every week a Torah sheet. And he wrote last week, if it burns, it works. Only when you feel the pain through your challenges, then you know it's working. But if everything is so easy and everything is 1, 2, 3, then it's not even a challenge. So what's the point? There is no point. So we're heading into Rosh Hashanah, we're heading into Yom Kippur, we're heading into Sukkot, we're heading into Shmini Atzer, we're heading to Simchat Torah. We're heading to Elul. Elul is Chodesh HaRachamim VaSelichot. It's when, I think it's Rav Dessler. I don't know why I'm throwing this in, but I think it's a good idea. I don't know if you guys will even know what I'm talking about. Light, space, time. The scientists say that it's a parallel thing. Parallel, it's
straight.
It's straight. That means it's always different. And there was a rabbi, I think it's Rav Dessler, he writes it's not. It's a sphere. Not the world. The energy is a sphere. And this makes so much sense to our Torah, and I'll tell you why. We hold as Jews that the holidays we have, the days we have, it's not that it happened and it's finished. It's that it happened and that it's happening
again
now. It's happening right now. Our Rosh Hashanah we're having now, it's actually reliving and re-happening from the first Rosh Hashanah. Our Yom, you don't feel that's an issue on who? On you. That's not an issue on the time and on the space. That's an issue on you personally. Of all emotions and feelings, that's based on you, right? It's like someone getting married. I don't feel like I'm getting married, but you are getting married. The problem is with who? With you. The problem is not with the day itself. Do you understand? Same thing. So, when I eat Pesach, right? And that's why the Chamim always say, on these days there are certain sgulot, there are certain things you can pray for, and certain things you can tap into. What does that actually mean? No. It means that you're actually reliving coming out of Egypt. You're reliving getting the Torah. You're reliving certain things. And that's why, by certain scholars, the birthday was considered a very, very auspicious day. I know rabbis that used to that fasted the day before their birthday. They used to do Siyum Masechet on the day of their birthday. Why? Because you're actually tapping into the energy that you came into to this world, and how much you can change on those days, and so on and so forth. That's why an anniversary is such a big thing for a woman, right? For a man, what the heck is an anniversary? It's another day. No. They're based on certain emotions, and that emotion they want to feel it. But we got married 30 years ago. Who cares? you remember we got married 30 years ago? Like she's reliving her wedding in her brain, like you have nothing to do with yourself. But she's doing it, why? Because you know she's actually right. Because that same emotion and feeling is getting relived. And the truth is, in Judaism, it happens every month for a married couple. When a woman goes to the mikveh, the day of her mikveh should be that same existence and feeling like they just got married. And that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu created that mitzvah for the Jewish people, not for the Jews. The Jews have this mitzvah of separating from their wives. I know Muslims also have something similar, but they do it totally different. The Jews have that mitzvah. They have to separate from their spouse in order to live with their spouse on a certain level of purity. And that purity comes from what? I want to break something to you. I know you're married, right? So it's not when she's not pure, I start to disassociate from her. I know a lot of married people, when the woman starts to be in her impurity stages of the month, they're worse than roommates. They don't even talk to each other. That's not why God created this. God created it for you to tap into the intellectual, mental, and emotional state of relationship. That's what it's there for you to actually spend time without any physicality. Because building love, whatever love means, again, I always say you guys don't know what it is. Maybe one day we'll talk really what love is. But building that emotion of love has nothing to do with something physical.
And why do we have
That's
physical?
lust.
And why do we have physical?
You have a physical in order for your body to have a sense of pleasure. That means if you wouldn't have that sense of pleasure, you wouldn't have a desire to get married. If I took out that from you, you wouldn't care to get married. It would be cheaper for you actually not to get married.
Yeah.
It would cost you $150 a week to get someone to clean your house, to do your laundry, to take out food. You would rent a room, rent a house, make your money, no headache. What do you have to lose, right?
Mm.
So Hashem says, I don't allow you to do anything physical with anyone until you get married. Why? So your physicality should have that desire of getting married. Now that you're married, that physicality is not anymore going to let you stay into that marriage, because now that you tasted from the forbidden tree, you don't mind leaving it. So what happens? Hashem says, stop. You have to reach a connection of an emotional. You have to get into a mental state. And if you're not going to get into that mental state, you're not going to want to continue staying and living and being one with your spouse. Because it's not about physicality. Physicality is just a secondary. Because when you reach that certain, and that goes for everything in life. This is what people don't understand. This has to do with work. This has to do with kids. This has to do with coworkers. This has to do with family, friends, parents, spouses, brothers and siblings, everything. If it's a very dull relationship based on everything physical, take away the physical, the relationship is done.
Yeah.
But until you don't bring that mental, that emotion, that connection, and so on and so forth, then there's nothing. That's why I look at people, I can tell you right away when I go to a shul, who has a connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who doesn't. You just see how they daven. Are they reading or are they praying? It's two different things. You need to read in order to pray, but you not necessarily do you need to read. No, you need to read in order to pray, but you don't necessarily need to pray in order to read. That means anyone can read. It's perfectly fine. But there's a person that actually, when he reads, he wants to understand, he wants to feel, he wants to connect. That's a person that prays.
I can still pray in English though, that's praying also.
Why you gotta throw left field?
No, saying.
No, you could, but why would you?
Reading it just like that, it's like a body without a neshama.
Why would you do that? Why you could read? You can read in Chinese. You can read in Korean. You can read in any. You can pray in any language.
At this moment, I feel this type of way. I don't speak English. I don't speak Hebrew.
So you have to do your due diligence and learn the Siddur. I did it. Why can't you do it?
You should know what you're.
Oh, so let's find an excuse.
I didn't say.
Yes, that's what you're saying. I understand English, so let me pray with English. You know what's going to happen? You're not going to also pray with English. You're just going to read in English. Why? Because if your initial goal is not to want to connect, regardless of what language you'll read it, you won't care.
But who said I want to connect?
Because if you wanted to connect, you wouldn't care to read it in English and read it in Hebrew and learn the understanding and the translation in English. You wouldn't care. You would actually want that. Why? Because in order to connect, you would prefer to connect it in the highest level, but yet also understanding your language. That's called real connection. For example, one day you're going to get married and you like, I don't know what you like. You like chocolates. And she hates chocolate, she likes flowers. And you say, I want to connect. So you bring her chocolates. Did you connect to her?
No.
No, but chocolates are so good. They're so nice. They're perfect. But what just happened? You defeated the purpose. That's not connecting. For you, it might be. But for her, it's not. So what did you just do? You shot yourself in the foot. That's exactly what we're doing to ourselves. When we play this dreidel for the rest of our lives, dreidel, 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 I only do what's good for me. And then one day when we're going to pass away, which we all will, right? We're going to go to Shammai, we're going to get judged. You didn't do your due diligence. You don't know, I did everything, I went to shul. I don't care about that. Where was your heart? Where was your brain? Were you with me when you were davening? No. So what's the point? Who are you fooling? In life, we only fool ourselves. I want you guys to understand this. We only fool ourselves. We don't fool anyone else. And if you think that you should work hard to fool others, then you're living such a pointless, such a stupid life. Empty. It's nonsense. It's no point. For what? For who? For the other person? I'm sorry. It's no point. So remember, we're going into Rosh Hashanah. Why? Why is Rosh Hashanah called Rosh Hashanah?
Head of the year.
Why is the head?
It's starting.
The Torah says, when it says this month, it doesn't say Chodshei Hashanah. It says HaChodesh, the month. Why? The teacher said everything starts with the head. If the galava is good, as my father always says, if you have kids, if the oldest fish smells good, that means the oldest child did a good job. Usually the trickle-down effect is that most of the time the kids after it also somewhat fall in the right path. You have to understand, if you're going to start this month good, which is Chodesh Tishrei, automatically the rest of the year is going to be with a positivity and a point of growth, and a point of learning, a point of investing in oneself. But how do we do that? We have to start with the last month. Elul, Chodesh Elul. Chodesh Elul. Selichot. Getting ready. Mentally prepare yourself to go to Selichot. Not to go to shul with the best chazan to hear his voice. That's not Selichot. That's opera.
Right, when someone goes to Slichot the whole next year, he doesn't come to davening then. He did the whole 40 days strong. He burnt out. Then what?
He went to Selichot for what then?
I'm asking you, I don't know.
I also don't know. I can't tell you. Maybe he didn't pass in the Sayon. What am I trying to tell you? Don't look for a Selichot Minyan with the best Chazan. Look for a Selichot Minyan with the good.
No, what are you trying to say?
I know what he's trying to say. I know where this is getting. I'm trying not to get into this because I saw how your face and eyes started to look. I don't want to get into it. But that was a messed up move from your part.
No, I don't know, we had a conversation about it.
You have to understand something. People have nisyonot. People want to start good. They do. People want. Unfortunately, some people don't have what's called koach atzmi. They don't have self-determination, they can't push themselves so much. They only can do it with a crowd. They only can do it with a word. You, as you're getting mature and you're becoming an adult, you have to understand it's your responsibility to self-motivate yourself. That means to go to Selichot, I rarely find by youngsters people they want to go by themselves. There's always a tag along. There's always where are we going tonight. There's always which minyan's better. Let's go together. Why? It's you guys are encouraging yourselves. Selichot finishes, Rosh Hashanah finishes, Yom Kippur finishes, Sukkot finishes, Simchat Torah, Shmini Atzeret. What happens then? Your highness that you were the whole Chag crashes. Now what do you have to do? You have to self-determine. self-motivates. But what happens? You don't have the koach atzmi. You're mentally not there. What happens then? You shoot yourself in the foot. A person has to nishtadel from now already how to self-motivate himself in order to do what's good. That means I shouldn't need another person to come with me in order for me to want to do good. I should want to do it on my own. You know, when you reach that level, when you stop serving for others, you serve just to serve Hashem. Because if you know it's just you and God in this world, then nothing and no one else matters. Even though what I'm saying now sounds extremely selfish and extremely not family oriented, no v'ahavta kamocha, it's the greatest v'ahavta kamocha. Because if you in your job, you do what you have to do on this earth, automatically what happens, the people around you, it starts to affect. It just happens. People around you just want to do good. Why? Because first of all, they see they can't affect you because you're stuck on stone. You want to do what's good. And second of all, instead of fighting you, they start to learn from you.
And why fanatic? They always say fanatic.
Because you have to understand something. Those are called negative reinforcements. Those are called, I can't reach where you're reaching, so let me put him down. Those are called, I'm jealous of you. That's what it's. They're called really haters, but that's what it is. I got many of those in my lifetime. Fanatic, this, that, and today they are where they are, and I am where I am. I'm not saying they're in a worse place, but they are where they are, and I am where I am. I'm happy where I am, and I didn't care that they called me that. Because eventually, what happened was, everyone has to go their path. So they call you fanatic. You're hurt by it? You need a tissue? Well, like, I'm not understanding. Where's the pain? So I'm also just saying, it shouldn't bother you. Thank you, I'm a fanatic. I'm happy to be a fanatic for God. Thank you, I appreciate it. What's the problem? You're doing wrong? You're embarrassed you're serving your creator? So then why should you care?
It's like there's people that, do the regular and then just go above and beyond.
So what's the regular? That's my question.
The regular is just, like you said, like somebody praying just like that. It's like
I call that content Jews.
It's like the diavad.
I'm telling you, they're called content Jews, and those are the kind of Jews that I would stay very far from. Actually, why? Because they're only going down. They're only doing it just to put a check on their list. I prayed today. I did Kibud Avim today. They're not doing it because there is no. It's called itiruta deliba. There is no internal excitement. There's no internal desire. There's my obligation. I promise to you, I guarantee to you, when you're gonna get married, I always relate this to marriage, always, because that's something that you can feel. You don't want your wife to treat you or serve you because of an obligation. You want her to treat you and serve you out of desire. That's what you want. Do you understand? That's what you really want. No? He's a married man, I'm a married man, I know. I have kids. I don't want my kids to respect or to do what I tell them to do because I told them to do it. I want them to realize, oh, this is my father, this is my mother, and they're doing best for me, and I want to do what's good for them because I know it's good for me. Right? But you're never going to reach that if all your life, if for your whole life, you're just doing things just to do it. That's why I always say, those kind of Jews, you got to step back from. I'm sorry, I'll say it to their face, I don't care. I've said it to many people. To the face, you're a content Jew. And to you, I don't want to associate with. Because you're the kind of person that just brings me down. I don't want to be satisfied in my religious status. I don't want to be satisfied. If I'm getting satisfied, that means I'm going down. I want to be able to say I'm not satisfied. I want to grow. I want to do more. I want to grow. I want to do more. Oh, you're a fanatic. I don't care. I don't care if I'm fanatic. I'm happy to be fanatic. I'm happy to be fanatic. Now, I want to also understand. There's fanatic in Torah, and there's fanatic in a cult. Judaism is not a cult. That means that if you're becoming more observant, doesn't mean now you have to disassociate with everyone in the world.
But it's so hard.
No, it's not hard. It's not hard. I've done it.
Okay.
It's not hard. I'm not different. I just knew how to balance. I don't need to excommunicate the whole world because I'm on some high. If my highness doesn't attract other people to be also high, then I'm not on a real high. I'm not talking about drugs, right? I'm talking about in Torah. If when I'm an observant Jew, and other people see me, right? And they don't say, they do say you're fanatic and crazy, but in the back of their head, they don't say, why is he always so happy? What's wrong with this guy? Like, what is he on? Is he on shrooms or something? Like, seriously, what is he on? If they don't say that in the back of their head, I'm doing wrong. You know what? You want to know? Yes, please. You want to know why most people don't keep Torah mitzvot after they see you? It's because they're really scared. They're too scared to leave their own comfort. What does it mean? I have to be more modest suddenly? Oh my God, Rabbi, you know how hot it is in the summer? Get out of here. Get out of here. So what? You take a shower. Well, you don't have water in your house? What's the big deal? Rabbi, I should wear tzitzit in the summer? Yeah, what's the problem? What's the problem? I don't tell you to shave off your head. You have no problem with that. You know how much you sweat because of your hair? I don't tell you to walk outside naked. I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at you. I'm meaning in Klali. Everyone can find an excuse. I can find 1,000,001 excuses not to do something. I should eat kosher, Rabbi? You know how expensive kosher? I go to halal stand, $7. I'm done. I get a thing. You know what they give me? You know what they give me, Rabbi? I come home not with one tray, with 2 full trays. The sauce is coming out of the container. And it's not just regular sauce. It's that white sauce, that hot, spicy sauce. Come on. I should give that up and get a small sandwich for $50 that doesn't make me even full. And it tastes like crap. I should spend my money, hard work money, for that? Get out of here. I'm just eating cow and lamb. They're kosher animals. That's not the point. That's not the point. Where's your devotion to God? Where'd it go? What happened to it? You know what happened? It was never really there. It was only there for a show. A person that really is connected to God or to his spouse, Bonagid, and regardless what happens, they're always going to come back.
Hashem.
Yes. They're always going to come back. You want to know why? Because it wasn't fake. It wasn't fake. It was real. There was a relationship there. There was tefillah. There was davening. There was reaching to the ekev, reaching to the heel of your life. Sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, all the time, till a person doesn't reach to the bottom, he doesn't crack, he doesn't break,
It won't change.
he won't be able to get up. You need that breaking point. You need that breaking point. It's extremely important. It's extremely important. I support it all the way. I think if people don't suffer in their life, say a beracha and have me in mind, please. I think if people don't break in their life, they'll never be able to grow. Ever. Ever. Financially, emotionally, relationship, kids, they won't be able to. They need to break. You know what means break? They need to reach a point in their life that's, I give up. I'm done. God, I'm doing what you want. I can't. I need your help. You want to know why? Because until that point, you think it's all you. You need to come to a realization that it's not you. You are just a pod. You are nothing. You just happen to be in existence. When you reach that point, automatically you see siyata d'shmaya. Why? Because after that point, you start to realize and appreciate everything.
Bro, we are powerful technically because God gave us the opportunity to do all this. I mean, we have a lot of power. That's what we get stuck up on. That. Think about it.
You know, you have a talent. You know what a talent is?
Yeah.
To blow up the punchline. You have an amazing talent.
No, I'm being serious.
Of course we have power, but the problem is, our powers doesn't come from us. You said it yourself, it comes from who?
Yeah.
Exactly, so if we don't acknowledge that, then what happens? We think it comes from
Us.
ourselves, and that's the problem. It doesn't come from ourselves. We are nothing. We are nothing. It's the God in us, the godliness in us that has to come out. And until we don't realize that, we think it's us. And that's where we fail. That's exactly my point. It's not you. It's that godliness in you. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
So life's not really difficult. You just have to know how to nullify yourself for His will. Oh, but Rabbi, I can't handle that life. That's too difficult, Rabbi. I can't. Get out of here. You're crazy, Rabbi. You're crazy. I am crazy. Yeah, I'm crazy. But I'm a happy crazy. I'm a happy crazy. Say a beracha. I'm waiting to drink the coffee. Amen. Now, this is where everyone's problem is. You know what everyone's problem is? They think religious Jews have to look ugly, be smelly, be poor, live in an apartment with 15 kids, drive a broken down car. That has nothing to do with anything. I want you guys to, that has nothing to do with religion. That has to do with a person. I want you to understand this. Religious Jews, observant, I don't like to use religious, but observant Jews that want to be close to Hashem, you know, it's written in the Shulchan Aruch, he has to be clean.
You can't smell.
He cannot smell. He has, you know, the Kohanim had to take the king had to take a haircut every day. You know that?
I thought it was a Kohen Gadol.
The Kohen Gadol had to take a haircut, I think, once a week. The Kohanim had to take once a month. They had to look. You have to understand. You have to understand. Torah teaches us how to be mensch, how to be humans.
Why do most of them look that way
They
though?
they don't look
Laziness.
Yeah, they look like not put together.
Okay, so we have to understand cultures. This is our problem. We expect them to look like us, and we expect them to look like them. That's the problem. We have to understand there are different cultures in Judaism. Same religion. We're not Muslim. There's no Shiite and Sunni that hate each other. Each one thinks they're not a Muslim. We are Jews and we think both. Sfaradim, Ashkenazim, Hasidim, Litaim, Yemenites. All of us, we're all one. We believe in the same thing. We marry into families, into each other. We read from the same Torah. Everything is the same by us. I want this to be clear. We're not different. This is the only difference. Unfortunately, some of them are not put together. You know the richest Jews, you know who they are, right? They're the Hasidim. The richest Jews in the world are the ones with the long peot, with the I'm not joking with you.
They flip the world with a flip phone.
Yeah, with a long reckle, it's called. They're the long beard. They're the richest Jews on the planet Earth. That's true. We won't talk about that right now. They are the richest Jews. They don't even know how to read English. Do you know that? I'm not joking with you. You want to be a nurse? Yeah? You know, they own the hospital you're going to be working in. Well, it doesn't make a difference. Every hospital you can think of, they own it. I want you to understand that. Whatever you think you're in, they've been there. They've done that. Now you're going to see on the comments, the Jews run the world. It has nothing to do with that. We're just smart. We're not stupid. That's it. We know the system. We learn the system. And we take chances. What's the difference between Jews and every other culture in the world? We don't cry about the past. We learn from the past. You know why unfortunately the blacks didn't grow up yet, as I say? They're very smart. But they're still crying about what happened 300 years ago.
They didn't get over.
Grow up. It happened. It's done. It's over. It's finished. It's over 100 years ago already. You can vote. You can live your life normally. Pick up yourself. Be menschlichkeit. Be normal. Figure it out. No, but if you're always going to live in the past and sulk and cry about it, you're never going to grow. For example, that's what depression is. Depression is, for example, a guy that he went out with a girl or he got engaged or so on and so forth, and it didn't work out and he's stuck. He's stuck. He can't get out of it. Can I judge him for that? I cannot judge him for that. Because he's going through a certain mental mission or a challenge that he has to overcome and realize. What does he have to realize? First of all, I don't know why it happened. Second of all, the fact that it happened, that we ended it, it had to be for my benefit. Because if it happened now, God forbid it could have happened, when we were married, when I had a kid. And then vapshe would be the worst thing in the world. So, first of all, I'm happy it happened now. The fact that it happened now, I just dodged the greatest bullet on planet Earth. That's how you think of it in a positive way. But if you can only think of it in a negative way, what's going to happen?
You kill yourself.
You're gonna do worse. You're gonna become crazy. You're gonna become crazy. You blowing yourself up. For what? For someone that said goodbye? It hurt. I understand it hurt. Take a holiday, take a vacation for a day or two, for a week. Get it out of your system. Slap yourself. Go weiter.
What's the point of meeting several people?
I don't. Explain your question. I don't understand. Several people.
For example, let's say a guy dates 4 or 5 different type of girls, completely different type of girls.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what is the point of meeting all that up to that person?
Experience that you learn.
What you're basically saying is, why do I need to go through dating so many people before I reach
That one.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
It doesn't have to
I don't
be.
know.
Doesn't have to be.
Some people get on the first one. Some
Okay,
people,
so he's
It's a
saying
very
in the
rare
kid.
occasion.
it's a dependent on the
The
person.
question, the answer is, I don't know. I'm not here. I'm not gonna now build you a story. I can tell you
People say,
how you should look at it. I know what people say. You're a zivug, you're this, you're that. They blame Kabbalah like usual.
like character development.
Yeah, these are people that don't know what they're saying. I'm gonna be honest with you. All I can tell you is very simple. You have to take every experience you have. You have to take every experience that you have and what you're going through, which I know it's not a comfortable feeling. And you have to ask yourself, what can I learn out of it? Is this the kind of person I want to be? How can I become a better human being? I know it's hard. The truth is I don't know, but I heard it's hard to date multiple women and repeat everything over and over and go through the same thing over and over. I know it's difficult. But at a certain point, I don't know, but I'm assuming at a certain point a person has to has to be mevatel himself. He has to come to a point of saying, what can I do to make it work? That means I don't believe a person could go out with 15, 20 girls and it just didn't work out with all 15 of them. I don't see how that's even possible.
So you
It has to be, it's not just a you problem, it has to be, do I know really what I want? Because your question is even interesting. What did you ask? Totally different kinds of people. You're talking about hashkafically, emotionally. Because if it's hashkafically, that's a question on you. How can you allow yourself to go out with people on a total different spectrum, right?
There are people that go in thinking they can change the person.
No.
Which is obviously the worst.
I don't believe in that. I said this. You were not here. I had a whole dating series. Getting married is not a kiruv case. You're not getting married in order to make people religious. I'm sorry. You're gonna shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
It's better for you to, God forbid, don't do that. You can't do that to yourself. You're killing yourself when people think that way. When you start dating, a person has to go in knowing what he's looking for. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, you're wasting your time and you're wasting her time.
Some people are just ugly. The girls or guys both ways. I'm saying serious. All jokes are enough.
True.
No, I'm serious.
So what you have to do is you have to the Yanuka answers this question. And it says you have to pray that your face should have something called chen,
Favor.
charm. There's people like that. I know people that they're the ugliest creatures on planet Earth. But they have something called chen. When people look at them and people just start talking to them, there's a certain kind of attachment. Like people will ask the girl or the guy after, yo, did you see him or did you see her? Like, I don't hop. And the other person's like, did you ever speak to him? He's like such an amazing human being. You're like, But are you blind? I want to know. Are you? And I'm in glasses, maybe. She's a good person. They made a test. They made a statistic test on this. They took I think 50 ugly men. They set them up with 50 beautiful women. But this was the catch. They have to talk on the phone for 6 months before they meet.
Ooh, the woman's gonna start loving you.
What
It's like
happened?
love is blind.
What happened was, I think 80%
The girls love first.
got married to the guy at the end. Why? Because there was a sense that this society teaches us to just judge people in the front picture. It's very bad. A lot of people are suffering. And that's why I always suggest, a person has to always pray for chen. Always. I pray for my own kids. My kids should always have chen. Why? You need to find favor. You need a face that has it's shining. Shining face doesn't mean you're beautiful. I know a lot of beautiful women. If I had a gun, I would shoot them right in the forehead, habibi. Playing zero, pah, in their head. No problem. I would have no problem. Their mouth, once they open their mouth, oh man, you want to just barf. You want to hang yourself. You want to hang yourself. So beauty is really not everything. There's a lot of good-looking guys, ya habibi, I'm telling you, run. They're disgusting, they're nasty, they're nivaspita. They have no sense of what a woman is. They have no sense of what a relationship is. Everything is about me. Those are not men. Those are women reincarnated in men. It's disgusting. What's a man? A man is someone that has a koach gav. He's a leader. He's a doer. He knows how to motivate. He knows how to push. He knows how to say, let's do it. We can achieve. We can do. We can have success. You need to only rely on me for the rest of your life. If you have a man that's totally opposite, he's not a man. He has to work on himself.
So people find being nice as not manly. What is that about?
No, that's not. They don't think of that. They think of it as a simp. There are men that are simps. That's not nice. It's two different things. I know why you're asking that question, but that's not true. What you know what a simp is? Simp is
He holds him by the.
Yes, man.
yeah, a yes man. That's not a nice guy. That's a simp. That's a guy that's supposed to be a woman. That's not a nice guy. A nice guy is someone that's
Nice, but knows his boundaries.
a nice guy is a person that knows how to validate her feelings, but in the same time explain how it's gonna get done. Because at the end of the day, if the woman is not willing to entrust 100% herself in him, that's a problem. It's a problem both on her and a problem both on him. That means he's doing something wrong, that she doesn't have that full 100%ness.
Oh, clarity.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that can take years. That's not during the dating stage. I want you to understand. Don't think now, if that's not in the dating stage, it's never going to happen. And if it happens in the dating stage, there's a bit of an issue. That means daddy issues. I want you to understand that. That's a mental issue. That's a trauma issue. I'm not going to get into that right now. It has to happen after you get married. Because she cannot fully give herself totally to him until she knows how to test the waters. And trust me, she'll press those buttons. She'll press the button faster than the nuclear reactor will go out. I'm telling you, she'll press the buttons. The question is in you. Do you know how to control yourself as a man? Do you know how not to react? That's the question. Are you going to react or not? Is she going to throw her fit and you're going to keep your cool? Or is she going to throw you a fit and suddenly you're also throwing a fit? Oh, we have 2 babies that got married now. That's the question. Do you understand now?
Yeah.
Till that's not worked on, nothing will ever grow. Sometimes the fit is to ignore. That's also not growing. You cannot ignore her sense of feeling or emotion or his feeling and emotion. You cannot ignore it and say, when you grow up, I'll come back to this conversation. You can't do that. Validate and then continue on. People don't know how to do this anymore. because we live in TikTok, Instagram, Facebook doesn't exist anymore, MySpace doesn't exist anymore. What's something new? Snapchat, X. Oh, we live in this garbage kind of reality. The reality of what everyone else has. This is the reality that we have. It's fake. That's why I say if a person doesn't have that kesher, doesn't have that connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that means he really doesn't want to become the best person. Because what does God actually make us do? To become a better human being. Oh, but it's hard. I don't care if it's hard. I don't ask you if it's hard. It's hard to have kids. You want to have kids? Do you want to have kids? Yo, I'm telling you, it's hard. It's so hard that sometimes you want to strangle them, but you're not going to. Right? Why do you want to have kids? It's hard. You're not going to sleep. You're not going to be able to work. You're not going to be able to live normally with your husband. You're not going to be able to spend on yourself. You got to now put aside for the child. Who needs this? Don't have kids. My advice, don't have kids. Why do you want it? I tell you why.
Reward.
What reward? What reward? What reward? They're going to get married. They're going to forget you. What reward?
Yeah, but you love it.
What reward? The day you're going to get married? Are you ready? But the day most people get married, they talk to their parents once in a green moon. What reward? What reward do you get out of this? Nothing. Nothing. Why do you still want to do it?
Only give.
First time you said something so beautiful like honey. Beautiful like honey. Like honey. Because you want to give. Regardless of how and what the outcome is going to be, you still want to give. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I also want to give. But how can I give to you if you're not complete? So what does he do? He throws us a challenge. I want to give. And instead of us saying, I want to receive, what do we say? It's too hard. What? Too boy. What do you mean it's too hard? What do you mean? Oh, you don't want to work on yourself. Okay, that's another story. Don't blame it on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Blame it on yourself.
So those people who can't have children for their own reasons, does that mean that they have their own challenges without children? And they have certain things, so they're
yes.
with them?
You know, not on anyone. The challenge, the emotional challenge of not having a child is so severe that you have to be such a strong person mentally in order to overcome it. Baruch Hashem, God gave adoptions now. I ever told you one of my bucket list is to adopt a child. I have it in my bucket list. People think I'm crazy. I feel that I think I want to do such a thing. This is I told this once to my wife, so it's crazy, but in my soul I feel, and she asked me why. I said, I'll tell you why. Because unfortunately, when we look at kids that have that kind of life, that the parents can't have them or don't want them, or certain circumstances that the parents don't have the means, I feel that there are so many good people out there that can give that kid a fortunate life, and instead of giving it, we're not giving it. We have to be able to help those kids that we feel that they cannot have a good life, and say, I could give it to him. I could guide him, like him or her, whoever it is. And I could give them a good life. I think it should be very mandatory that a person in a certain age, with certain sechel, he should adopt a child. I think it's one of the greatest forms of v'ahavta kamocha, of loving every human being. Why not? If you're a good person, if you have the financial means to it, I think you should put it on your bucket list to adopt a child. There are kids that grew up in a certain mazal of being unfortunate, and you should be that person to should give them that fortunate. That's one of the greatest rewards. Why? Memela, if you have your own kids, you feel obligated and forced to. But when you take a kid that's not your flesh and blood, but he might be connected, or she connect you in your soul wise, it's the greatest form of tzedakah.
And love too. Right?
That's the greatest form of love.
Like with your wife, the same thing.
It's amazing. So how come people don't want to do it? How come?
It's a responsibility.
Because it's a responsibility that they pick upon themselves, and they can't handle that. That's why people don't want to grow in Torah mitzvot. Why? I'm doing enough, Rabbi. Don't tell me to add more to my religion. I'm doing good. They don't want to grow. A person that doesn't want to grow is just going down. I never said it's easy. I never also said it's hard, but I never said it's easy. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And this is what this week's parasha is. Ekev, the heel. Until you don't reach rock bottom, we'll never be able to grow. Ever. Okay, now you reach rock bottom. How do you use it? How do you grow? Reaching rock bottom means I fully 100% put my trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
No matter what you're going through.
No matter what. You want to know why? Because that's what he's waiting for. Because until you don't say, God, I'm done. I can't anymore. I'm done. Now, hitting rock bottom doesn't mean you have to mamish reach to the lowest level. It could mean that after one smack you got, say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever you want, I'm listening. I'm gonna do. That can be your rock bottom. That's what he's waiting for. Why is he waiting for that? Because when you live that kind of lifestyle, you have no reason to worry. You have no reason to get angry. You have no reason to be upset. You have no reason to be jealous. You have no reason for anything wrong. Why? Because you know everything comes from Hashem. So what is it to me? Your parents say, "Oh, you're." I'm doing my ishtadlut. I'm doing my due diligence. Go scream at him. What do you want from me? I'm not telling you to be a couch potato and say it's up to God. No, that's called being a shoteh. That's called being stupid. I'm telling you have to do your due diligence. I know people that went for school to be doctors and lawyers. They ended up to be working on 47th Street. I know people that worked on 47th Street. They ended up to be doctors and lawyers. How did that happen? Because we can plan, we can say, we can do this. And at the end of the day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts you where you need to be. Yesterday I was at a school reunion with my high school friends. Years I didn't see some of these people. And one of my friends, he's actually most of you know him. I'm not gonna say his name. He was looking at. I showed him. I grew up with him from 3rd grade, elementary. Went all the way to high school together. We lost touch. I got married. He didn't. Whatever the case was. He asked me, "How many kids you have?" I said, "Yeah, I'll show you a picture." And he went bananas. He said, "What kind of life you have? Wow, amazing, And I said, "Wait, stop it for a second. The life I have and the life you have is the lives we're supposed to have. Don't think my life is better and your life is worse. Your life is the best for you, and my life is the best for me. The question is, what are we doing with our lives? Are we taking our experiences in our life and doing good with it, or are we doing bad with it? I cannot have your life. I am not destined. It's not in my mazal to have your life. And it's not your mazal to have my life. Does that mean now I should be jealous of everyone that doesn't have my life? That I want to have his life or her life? I cannot be jealous. Why? Because it's not in my stars to have that life. It's not in my mazal. How can I ask for someone else's life? It's impossible. It's only foolish for a person to say, I wish I had his life. It's the most foolish thing to say. You don't know.
If they want his life, they're gonna take his problem.
You don't know what's his life. You don't know where and how he needed to do and get in order for him to be where he is today. It's much more simpler to fix your own life than take someone else's life. And that's the problem in this generation. We're willing to imaginate how we want to live instead of working on it and actually doing it. And this is why we're going into Chodesh Elul after Tu B'Av, which was one of the holiest days for the Jewish people. It's not Valentine's, Chas Shalom, for the Jews. This is made up by the Israeli government, in order to advocate love and all this garbage. It has nothing to do with that. Tu B'Av is a very holy day. It's the day of the woods were collected for the Mishkan. It was the day of the inauguration of certain things. It's a very holy and auspicious day. So is Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is a day of fast. Why is it so holy? Why is Yom Kippur so holy?
We tear ourselves from our body, our physical. So I'm saying we only connect them to Hashem. It's a holy day.
True. The not eating food is not a suffering. The not eating food is an elevation. It's where we start to elevate our bodies. In Olam Haba, I want you guys to know something. Food is going to be obsolete. Don't think you're going to be eating shashlik 24/7. I don't know, people have this idea of the world to come. We're going to have barbecues, pina coladas all day, taking shots, chilling. No, guys. This is not the way it is. Food makes you more animal. I want you to try it. Start cutting down on sugars, on wheat,
Carbs.
on meat. See how you start to react. Your body starts to react to foods differently. You start to use the bathroom less. You start to have more energy. You start to stop craving certain things. Your ADD and ADHD start to go down.
Just fruits and vegetables.
You can have meat, but meat, there's danger. Meat makes you tired, makes you full, makes you just want to sleep.
Carbs, right?
Bread, very not good.
Yeah.
People, I love bread too. I can sit down in a meal, finish a whole 2 lipyoshkas. I can gobble it down with a nice salads. I can, not these Bukharian salads they go. So I go to my wife, I say, we're going to her parents, and I say, please make your own salads. I don't want to just eat markavchen, this kind of, put some, hummus, tahina, put some, dip, something, you can, she's like, don't worry, I got you. I already know. I know the shtick already. You don't gotta tell me anymore. Same thing. The bread, I can devour it, but it's not good.
Shabbat is good.
It's not only Shabbat Kodesh, of course. It's not good. Shabbat, we have an obligation to enjoy. We have an obligation to eat and enjoy. You understand? You do gain weight, huh? It's a fairy tale. Whoever told you don't get on Shabbat is a fairy tale. Now, come on, stop being superstitious and now you gain weight. You just have to control what you eat. That's it. Yeah.
It's cheat day.
You understand? Cheat day. So this is the point. The point of this parasha is Moshe Rabbeinu gets very intense to the Bnei Israel and he starts to rebuke them and says, we're right now going again into Eretz Israel and you have to understand, V'ahavtem et hagerim, you have to love the converts. You have to love the converts.
You love more than you love.
You have to love the gerim. And I see this. I have a mikveh in my house. I have a woman's mikveh in my house. And sometimes rabbis call me to conversion. There's gerim that want to convert. After a certain process, they go through the Beit Din and so on. And I say, sure, you can come. As long as you have the right rabbis that want to convert you, they come with the Beit Din. You can see how the goy, after they dip, and one time I saw a ger was crying for 20 minutes after they dipped. You know, it's 20 minutes. It wasn't crying it was crying out of joy.
He or she?
It was a he. I also saw one time a she that was crying. Tears of happiness. He's like, I waited 5 years to convert. I waited 5. He was going bananas. He was so happy. He was so excited. He was so mesmerized. He's a Jew. He always, I have to put on tefillin. First thing I want to put on tefillin. By us, the mikveh, right away you put it tzedakah. You come out, the first mitzvah is you do tzedakah. But he was so excited, and I looked at it and I was like, I'm so jealous. I was so jealous after the first time I saw this kind of gerut. I said, look at this. The goy can indulge in everything he wants in this world. He decided to pick the most strictest religion possible. And he's so happy. I said, I was born into this. How come I don't have this joy? Where's my joy in being a Yehudi? How come I don't wake up every day and just start dancing? I'm a Yehudi. And it crushed me a little bit. It made me feel how much I really have to work on myself. To love, to have this v'ahavteach kamocha. If you nullify yourself to Hashem, you're going to start loving Hashem. I'm going to finish with this. Without subduing yourself to God, you'll never love God. Ever in your life. You'll just love yourself. Same thing too in a relationship. Until you're not willing to sacrifice your desires for her or her desires for him, a love will never be created. Love is an outcome from submission. When you submit, then comes love.
On both ends.
You want to know why? Because you cannot learn to submit unless you start to feel something towards another person. It happens retroactively when you have kids. You see our parents, after the kid's born, suddenly the baby starts to cry. The woman loves to sleep. She's willing to break her sleep, to get up, to give the baby a bottle, to feed the baby, and to go back to sleep after. Why? Because she loves him so much, she already gave up on herself. The problem is we're forgetting that has to be for a spouse too. If the spouses don't have that, unfortunately they're in jail together. They're in jail. I don't want you guys to have that kind of life. It's not a good life. You have to learn to submit in order to grow. Once you're going to grow, automatically, you know what happens? You're going to have a beautiful life. Your marriage is going to be so beautiful that when you're going to look at people and hear people's problems, you're going to cry and say, thank God I worked on myself. Thank God I overcame these issues. Thank God I don't need to live that kind of life. And when you tell people just submit and do this, they'll think like you're crazy. They'll think you're a yes guy. That's what they're gonna think. And you're gonna say, no, I'm not. We just learned to put our egos down, submit for each other, and then the love came. People don't realize that. Why? I should break my ego for her? Hell no, Rabbi. You know who I am? She's nothing without me. She's a nobody. Look at her. If it wasn't for me, she'd still live in her parents' house. She'd be the ugliest, dirtiest, And she'll say the same thing. She'll say the same thing. Look at him. I made him into a human being. Look who he was before. He couldn't find himself, hopping from job to job, work to work, barely had money, didn't know what he wants. Up his parents took us 24/7. He wasn't a real man. Not knowing that you both needed each other in order to become the best person. Your egos couldn't handle it. So what happened? You start to blame each other. Instead of using that to grow, you used it to break each other. So who's the stupid one here? You both. You're both two stupid people fighting over the same thing. What's the point of that? What's the point of that? I never understood that in couples. I talk to couples that are married for 30, 40 years. When I hear this, I'm mesmerized. Like, you never figured this out? You never figured it out? You never picked up a Sefer Musar to work on oneself? Is it so difficult? That's what marriage is. Marriage is a roller coaster. If you're not buckled and holding the hand of the other person, it's a bad roller coaster. Don't forget that. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.